super like desirable, I guess you could say. Like I pretended like I didn't care, and he's like, oh, we should get together and blah blah blah, all that other stuff. I'm like, yeah, I totally don't care that we broke up. And then I was like, listen, if we're gonna get back together, if you have something you want to tell me, I feel like you should just get it off your chest. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, well, you don't just like we don't break up out of nowhere unless something happens. And his best friend told me that he was cheating on me with a chick that he was working with. I'm like, okay, so I was like, if there's anything at all you ever needed to tell me,
no,
now is the time to just clear your conscience. I'm not going to be mad.
Clear it out.
Clear it up. Let's just get it all out on the air. It's fine. We're young. We're stupid. Things happen. Like I'm opening up like a whole lot of opportunity for you to tell me how you fucked up. Just tell me about the chick you're working with. And he goes, well, if I'm going to be honest, there was a chick at the beach this one time.
This one time.
Like the beach? I don't know about the bitch at the beach.
Go on then.
So I'm fucking conflicted because I'm like, what do you mean the girl? Okay, the girl at the beach. Okay. He's like, it was just, you were supposed to be there and you were a little delayed. And this girl was there at the resort. I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
So I slipped and my dick fell in her. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. But I know about someone else. So I'm like, I'm trying to hold it together because I'm real pissed off at this point in my life. And I'm like, well, what else? He goes, what do you mean, what else? I'm like, well, you don't just break up with like someone amazing because you had a little fling on the beach. Because I don't want to throw the best friend under the bus. Like, again.
Oh, you are parking that bus on the best friend at this point.
No, to this day, he never figured it out. So he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you don't just like end a relationship with this because you just had a weekend and I didn't get to the fucking beach on time, in time enough for you to not slip it in somewhere else. And he was like, well, wow, you're really intuitive. Yeah, I am. It's like, there is a chick at work that I've been flirting with and yeah, I've been kind of hanging out with. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, that makes sense. And so he admitted to all of the chicks, and there were only 2, but he admitted to them, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, well, do you feel better? Like all this other stuff. And so that was the first time I was cheated on, and I don't know why I wanted to bring it up when we were talking about this topic, but like I felt good, but I this is the first time I brought it up where the best friends would I never told any girlfriend or anything, but the best friend was like, if he ever finds out, I'm going to deny it. I'm like, yeah, you're good. Like your secret is safe with me. Okay. And I have a lot of girlfriends that store their secrets with me. Just want to let you know, in 15 years, I'm not going to put it on the podcast. Just going to let you know that.
Here's the thing, that a lot of women are now recording their intellectual properties on technology platforms like this one. We might say, like, similar to this kind of platform. So, love you so hard, but depending on our choices, this might not be safe.
This is not a safe place.
This is not. I will say this.
It might be judgment-free zone, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's safe.
Yeah. I was super manipulative in that part of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jenny, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I want to interrupt your point to ask you a question.
Thank you. Please do.
During this point in your life, did you cheat?
No, I didn't.
Not necessarily with him, but I mean, like, was this a period of time where And how do you define cheating? Like, are you like, do you have to have a conversation with somebody saying, hey, we are mutually exclusive to each other, so therefore anything that happens after this point would be considered cheating or not cheating? Like,
Okay,
that's
so
so the point of this
a gray
podcast to me
area.
is there's such a gray area with
It
understanding.
is a gray area. It is, because it's like, I feel like you can like, and it's like back in like high school days, like if someone kissed someone, oh my God, you cheated on me, which like legit, yeah, that's, but it's like, and then like as you grow older, like in college, it's like, oh, you slept with that chick, like you cheated. And then you get married, and if you like you're having an emotional relationship, like it still is considered cheating kind of deal. Like someone knows personal things about you, like a partner can get upset. Like I have guy friends that share stuff with me and their spouses are not okay with it because they're like, well, why does she know things about our relationship? She's just her friends. And I think it's because I'm a chick and not a dude.
Mm-hmm.
That it upsets people. And I totally understand where someone would be upset if they knew some of the things that I know, but at the same time, and they're like, that's why he has a therapist, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, well, you know what? The secrets aren't going anywhere. So, but I get it.
So
I'd be upset too.
Cheating, I guess, by our adult definition is betraying somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Giving somebody else more access than they should have in your life.
That's a really good, that's a good definition.
Okay.
That's a good definition, Ryan.
There's a point like in high school, like in college and stuff, where you're trying to define sex and you're like, hey, listen, oral sex isn't really sex. You know,
yes.
It's really real sex if I put it in you, you know, and I'm like, well, you don't know. It's really kind of all sex. It's sexual activity. But cheating as an adult, as a grown up, is betraying somebody or giving more access to somebody than you should.
That's a really good answer. And I feel like when you're like growing up, like, and you've got all the hormones and stuff, it's just not realistic expectations. Although I have friends that are still with their high school sweetheart, I feel like you're growing so much, you shouldn't really hold some of your beginning relationships that accountable, although it like impacts everyone's relationships and like everything moving forward. But it's just kind of one of those things like I don't blame that guy. And I totally, oh God, yeah. One day I'll tell the story of how I ended the score. But have you been cheated on, Cass?
No, honestly, like the first memory of this kind of experience originated with a guy who he ran with friends in high school who participated in our things, and then him and I reconnected, and he kind of came into my life where I was ready to like lose my virginity kind of zone. Mm-hmm. And this is not the guy I did it. I did not lose my virginity to this guy. But I would like to share the fact that he amped up the fact that he wanted to have sex with me. And then shortly after that, when I invited him to a place where I knew that would be safe.
Uh-huh.
What's your face right now? What are you doing?
Sorry. That's the whole thing. I'm loving all of this. It's so fucking vague. You're like, I invited him to a place where I may be interested in losing my virginity.
Well, I can't.
I reconnected.
I really want you to finish this, Cassie, because I think there's really value in this, because it goes to that betrayal, I think, that we talked about.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, we're gonna shut up. Supposed to be like this really cool guy, and I was supposed to give my virginity to him. And then I called him when we thought we had a moment alone, which I thought I had a moment alone with him to do this. And I called him, and he was in the car. I know this now. Like, he was in the car with his ex-girlfriend. not her fault at all, but like he had already had a relationship with this child, honestly child, because we're all teenagers, but like he had a woman and he had already like gone through this dates with her. And when I called him, because he was supposed to be at my house, he was supposed to be in my space, he was with her. So what?
So she is not laughing at you, Cassie. I get like what Cassie's talking about. She was ready for this moment to happen. And whenever she actually opened the door and said, hey, I want you here with me, she's coming to a realization that he's actually with somebody else at that time. And,
oh, okay,
and
that's painful. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh.
Yeah, like he told me, like, I'm on your way to my house. Like, well, no, scratch that. I'm on my way to your house, and I was like ready for it, and then he was distant, and I called him, and then I heard her voice in the background.
So it's like the worst kind of cheating. Like, I mean, not, I guess
it's a bad story.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he knew that I was waiting for him, and then he fucked his ex-girlfriend. Like, I knew it was
We
his
can say her government name, so we'll go ahead and blast her. I mean, it's not her fault. We'll go ahead.
No, it's fine. Like, honestly, it's fine. It's genuinely fine. But
yeah, she's totally good with it. Cass, have you done the detour game with this guy?
Not really, but we can in the future.
Yeah, if you could, I think there's a better chance of it being better for you to do the detour game. And if you're coming in on a podcast on episode 32 and you don't know what the detour game is, it's you just pick someone from your past, look at them on whatever like up-to-date social media that they have, and then you fill in the dots and imagine your life if you continued with that path. So specifically, homeboy that cheated with 2 people that I only knew about one person. If I stayed with him, which he's a very lovely gentleman right now, only has the best things to say about me. But if I had stayed in that relationship, I would be doing Pokemon hunting games with him. So therefore,
but instead you obsess over sporting events. So
yeah, but
I'm just pointing out that you're like dogging somebody for being into Pokemon, but like
I'm not. I'm just saying that would have been my life. I feel like if I'm looking at his life now, me traveling, taking pictures with other people that snap, rare photos with other Pokemon, capturing.
Have you watched any murder mystery movies lately? Because I gotta tell ya, a lot of horror involved.
I think we need to name the second version of Cassie. Like, there is a drunk Cassie, and I think she needs a different name. Like when she shows up,
and I love her. What? I love both of
you. I do. I love her. I just don't know what to name her. Like
Esmeralda.
Esmeralda is here. It's a safe place. It's a safe place. I'm not judging you. I'm literally 4 drinks into moonshine here. I'm like on the verge myself. So
I love it because a couple episodes ago when I was listening back, I'm like, God, I was Esmeralda right there. But like right now, I love you, Cass. And it's okay. We're gonna do this. We're gonna bounce back and forth on our drunk state, and it's gonna happen. And I cannot wait for next weekend. I think my husband's terrified.
Ditto.
But yeah, next week we are gonna have a blast together. And I'll leave it on a high note. I had that buildup that you were talking about, Brian, with a guy. He was a boss, but he was married. And I was not going to be that person. So I went off to college, not knowing the timeline of what divorce takes, I thought, 3 months was an easy time to get like file divorce and get things